Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima.
Well, welcome back to the iHealth channel and iHealth Radio. New day, new show, new guest. Our guest is special in a lot of ways because I have not had a filmmaker, I have not had a counselor, an educator, and or a writer at the same time. In addition, by trade, she is a nurse. so a complete package. Today with us, we have Lois Hollis, and we're gonna touch a topic that for most of us, we are aware of the problem, but we are unaware of solutions. Today, we're going to talk about shame, guilt, or guilt, shame. We can reverse those. Everyone lives with some level of that, or hears about it, or seen it, and get to deal with it for life. But we're not the experts, and we have a new opportunity. Lois, you have started and opened a whole new form, a new way of resolving this issue. And before we go there, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what got you to today, to what you're doing today?
Okay, thank you. I am 77, I forget. I don't think about age, but it gives a perspective that I've been here a while. And I've learned some things along the way. And God's kept me here because I got a job to do, and he gave me the job of shame and guilt. So that's going to take a little while. So I'll be around for a while. Okay. How did this happen to me? And my reason for being here is to give you a truth that you've never heard before. I went to God school to find this out, and people get well. It's just magical when we know the truth. Truth is so powerful. I presume you want to know a little background, but I'm going to be a little quick because 77 years, we could talk for a whole day. So I'll give you the highlights.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a good one.
I don't, I'm talking about the 50s because the 50s were really profound. My age 50. It was very profound because I was suicidal. And I had no reason to be suicidal because I was a very accomplished person. And my life came back to me because I remember people say, "Oh, what was your childhood like?" I said, "Oh, I'm too stupid. I don't remember it." And I never talked about it because it wasn't in my consciousness. So I never really talked about it. But in my 50s, I got depressed. I got very, very depressed, and there was no reason for it. I had beautiful children. I was, not wealthy, but, I was hanging in there, and I had lots and lots of friends, and I was extremely depressed and felt like the world would be better without me. And people don't understand that if they were never suicidal, because they said, "Oh, no, I felt I would be doing the world a favor if I wasn't here." And I think people that have entertained suicide or thought about it, they go, "Yeah, that's right. You feel so self-esteem low that you don't even belong to live here on earth." That's a very dark place. Well, luckily God intervened, and somebody called me and was talking to me. He was a friend of the family, because all my families are doctors and nurses, and it was a psychiatrist. So he said, "You need to talk about this, Lois." So I went to see him. So I'm here. Now, what led to that is the first vision I had was my legs were bleeding. And I remember being hit with a belt strap. So long story short, eventually I remembered more and more and more and more. I had a very abusive childhood. In fact, I remember one time I saw myself like at 1 or 2, and somebody was holding me by my feet and hitting my head on the ground. Yeah, it's like hard to believe. But I came to remember little bits here and there. They come back, you know how people can say that, they come back little and little.
Mhm.
But the main thing was a therapist said to me, "You're very well adjusted for the abuse that you received. It's significant, but I developed the first kidney hemodialysis unit in the country in the 60s.
Wow.
I
That's
got
impressive.
into That's impressive. I
Yeah.
developed the hepatitis epidemic. I curtailed that because I was an operating room nurse. I started the nurses technician hemodialysis unit that's still around today. So yeah, I did a lot of new things. I'm the person that does new things just because that's what I do.
Well, listen,
Everybody's got an MO. When I see something needs to be done, I just do it. And if nobody ever did it, I'm going, so what? So I got to do it.
you take the lead. As a matter of fact,
I
we just
take the
had this.
lead.
That's right. Well,
I,
I'm sorry, Lois. Go ahead.
That's my MO. So when the doctor said that, all of a sudden I came back to my childhood and I remember this thing anyway, long story short, somewhere around 8 or 9 or 7 or 6, I had a near-death experience, and God sent me back and here I am. So I guess I learned things then, and God was helping me all along, because I couldn't read. I was dyslexic. I remember in school, I would hold the book up, first grade, and the words were moving around. Now, that is a symptom of brain traumas, and it's called Eran syndrome. And some children that have been severely beaten, they put like different colored glasses on them so they can read. But we're talking about 1950 here. You were just a rotten kid if you couldn't read. So I said to the nun, I was this Catholic school, how do I stop the words from moving? They hit me because like I'm a bad kid, like that's such a joke.
I know.
Next day, you come up here and you don't fool with me. You don't mess with me. You read. I turned the book around because I'm very creative. I thought if I turned the book around, the words would stop moving. It makes sense to a 7-year-old, right?
Didn't do
I
that.
turned the book around and
boom.
You get hit again. I'm going. So my parents were called, and I remember this, and they were said, "You have an idiot child. She cannot be taught. She cannot learn, but we're a Catholic school, and we're just going to put her in the back of the room just to, be gracious, but don't expect her ever to learn because she is an idiot child and she can't write either. I mean, she writes backwards. So she's an idiot. That's dyslexia. When you write backwards, that's dyslexia. Well, obviously, if you have 3 or 4 traumas and C1, 2, and 3 were broken, you got to have some brain traumas. Anyway, so that's a lot of shame.
Well, Lois, can you just hold there? Because there's a couple of points you just made right now. I mean, ultimately, this is a severe experience. Now we're talking to your point in the 50s, that practice would not even fly today, right? But you're right. At that time, Catholic school is Catholic school. That's how it was, and so sad that you're here as a live person talking about those moments and how you went and how it impacted your life going forward. But here's the great news. In this whole story, at least for now, you've succeeded. You've been almost an inventor, or at least you were in the lead of a lot of innovation. You've made it to the 70s, and you still are active and still coming up with new things. So I can tell you, whoever that nun was, If she's still around, she's not going to be she's either going to be not very happy, or she's going to be regretting all the stuff that she did. But this actually is a good, point to realize that don't do harm to people today, because, don't undermine people at that age, because a lot of folks that may have a difficult start become geniuses in later years. And so don't judge people, or like just be tough on them. And for anyone that's listening, if you have gone through any type of trauma, anything, just make sure, and I've had this story over, almost repeating the same way. People are successful when you go back to their history. They all had to go through some sort of a problematic childhood, things like that. And yet they prevail. And then now, or, they become the leaders in this world, or at least innovators. And I think that I just wanted to pause for a moment to talk about this, because I think that's a big deal. And
that is huge. Yes. Yes.
People, listen, you can do this, and don't ever, ever, ever shame yourself or feel that, you're under or inferior to any, person that's actually putting you down or undermining you or belittling you. And again, that's just me talking about this, based on I'm just so amazed that, you had to go through that in the first place, but yet I am much more amazed to see that you have done every single thing that a lot of people would dream to do, and you're still doing and bringing things to light that are different. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, about your film, venture that you're going through now, your book and everything. So let's go back now. So now it happened. What next?
Okay, so what I'm documenting, and I didn't know I had all these traumas until I met a chiropractor, shaman, healer. He had to fix my jaw. He said, your jaw was broken. Well, I didn't know that, but how you know that it was broken? Because he had to fix it. People say, where's all your x-rays? I never thought I was sick. So my jaws were broken, then my teeth had to be readjusted, and 4 brain traumas. And so what I'm saying to you is it was severe abuse. It wasn't like a knock in the head. And I still kept going because I never felt sick until I felt depressed and suicidal. I can't explain it, but I guess I never felt sick, even though I was sick. And then so the doctor said, you'll never live past 50, because I took drugs for 30 years because I had migraines every day. Of course you have migraines if you have your brain traumas. And my kidneys were not working. I had a mitral valve prolapse in my heart, and scoliosis bent over because of all the shame. And everybody says, look, there's nothing anyone can do for you. Just take your medicines, and you don't have much time left. And I went, I can understand that as a nurse. I saw my kidney function decreasing. I couldn't walk up the stairs too much. I mean, you kind of know. But I still didn't feel sick. It's very strange. Anyway, so one of my friends referred me to this doctor, and he says, I can help you, but you'd have to live close by. And so he helped me get my, heart moving and my lungs clearing, and a genius person. Okay. I'm blessed because nobody else could have done what he did. He's close to God, kind of thing. But you have to do the emotional work, right, people? Mm-hmm. And that's when someone said, what do you do about shame? And I went, what an odd word. This is somewhere in 2000. That's an odd word. Isn't that funny? I mean, now I'm a shame guilt educator, and the people said, so I have a detective mind. It doesn't stop until I get a solution. It just is. The mind will not shut off until I solve it.
You're solution oriented. That's great.
That's just the way. It's just my MO. So I had to find out, and I couldn't find anything about it. And then I was at that time counseling people, helping them to get through the traumas like I was doing. And I noticed that the shame guilt was in everything. And I went, oh my goodness. I don't have to go to therapy for depression and anxiety and anger. I mean, I'll be 50 more years old because each one takes 10, 20 years, right? I won't live enough to heal. I mean, if you really think about it, you're not going to live long enough. You spend 10 years of therapy for depression and 10 for anger. I mean, you'll be dead before you can heal. So I needed something a little faster. I realized that shame guilt produces all negative feelings. I was dancing. I also had tap dance. That kept me happy.
Nice.
I don't have to go to therapy for everything. I can just get rid of shame guilt. How cool is that? That was like, everybody should know that. So I started working with myself with that. And I've come to learn many things. And I like to share that with you because I call myself a shame guilt educator. Like 20 years ago, people said, oh my goodness, you'll never be invited to any lecture. We don't talk about shame and guilt. It doesn't exist. And I went, I'm not changing my title because I have to expose it.
But Lois,
Because-
it didn't exist, you know, but things don't exist because nobody brought them to light, but you just did.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm doing that because it's important, because that's just my going to do it. I just had to do it. So shame is in the unconscious mind. Think about that. You don't really think about it during the day. Once in a while, some shame guilt comes through. But when you wake up in the morning, you feel the shame more than any time, because 24 hours all sleeping, you're getting the shame messages. The guilt is in the conscious mind. You know, during the day, I shouldn't do that because I feel guilty. I shouldn't. You know, we're more used to using the guilt. Okay. Now, my medical background explains that. If you have a bacteria in your brain, they call it meningitis. Okay. If you have the same bacteria in your lungs, they call it pneumonia. The same bacteria in your liver, they call it hepatitis. The same bacteria in your joints, they call it bursitis or arthritis. Depends on who you're talking to. Yes. The same bacteria in your thyroid, they call it thyroiditis. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
So it makes you, oh my goodness, there's so many things, but the cause is the bacteria. And depends on where it's located, they give it a different name. I don't know why. Maybe it's for insurance purposes. You can bill more. I don't know. But that's how the medical world works. Okay. Since shame is in the unconscious mind, they call it shame. Guilt's in the conscious mind. Excuse me. So they call it guilt. I can't find another word. So I call it shame guilt. Now, why is this important? It's important because most people, most therapists, shame is bad, guilt is good. We need guilt to be moral. Without guilt, we're not moral people.
You got to feel
And
it.
we need more shame in the world because people are not moral. I'm going, wait a minute. It's the same energy. There's no healthy poison.
That's true. Well,
So that's where people get confused, because it's the same thing and they're fighting with, you see how they're fighting with, you're fighting with yourself. Oh, I can do this, but I can't do it. And it's the same thing. That's huge to know. And people say, I must be so injured and so hopeless because I've tried $10,000 of courses to get rid of guilt. And I did 4 weeks with Kuda, and I do positive thinking every day, and I still have guilt. I must be hopeless. A lot of people say that. And from that perspective, you know, I can understand. And I say to people, you are correct. There's no way guilt will ever go away until you get rid of the shame that's causing it.
so Lois, let's talk about that. Let's break down the shame concept, right? So
Okay.
everybody in their life experience different things. Now, sometimes we are in control, sometimes we are not. When you're a kid, typically that's usually the worst part, right? Because people will actually really abuse you with, you know, bullying
Yeah.
and all the stuff. Now you absorb all that negativity, right? And it stays with you in the back, in the subconscious.
Oh yeah. Oh
And then,
yes.
and then to your point, in your case, it didn't even manifest until you were 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
So at that point, somewhere in your life, in success mode and everything, it started hitting you. And that can happen and manifest anytime. So it could be sooner, it could be later. I mean, I had a show before about, teen suicide, where people actually are suicidal at earlier, younger age.
Yes, it just
Because
depends. It
exactly.
just depends.
But also you lived in a different era, which was a little different. There was so many things different then than are today.
Oh, tell me about it. That's
everything.
another show. We can do a
I
show
know.
on that one.
Well, listen, we can talk about, women liberation movement. We can talk about just protest,
Anything.
World
Yeah.
War. We can talk, all the stuff that happened, in that
time.
Yeah. So it's obviously a lot. And we're talking about just the school. You mentioned Catholic school today and then is two different worlds. I mean, you can't even compare the two. You're right. Corporal type punishment was just a common thing. Boom, and that's the way it is. It's like you speak and you just, before you speak, you got something going on, right? It's sad that it was the only way. Now, there are schools of thoughts that may apply some of it, but we can debate that. There's all kind of different ways to do good discipline, right? But it doesn't have to be in that, because to your point, it traumatizes people, and then ultimately, the impact.
Of course.
It's not then; it's later.
Of course.
And so now the person is feeling shameful on themselves, right? That's really what it is. Like, I am just not sure anymore. Like, you're not really giving your own worthiness to yourself. And you start beating on yourself more and more. That's
because you don't know any better.
Exactly. Well, now you don't know, or you establish some boundaries or whatever, but then now you're living with it day in, day out, and it's affecting you, and it just escalates.
Mm-hmm.
It's itself.
Exactly right.
Then to your point, there are solutions that have been around. I mean, you can go to psychiatrists and psychologists, get coaching, get all the stuff. In your case, you had different ways. And by the way, I want to say, you have defeated every prediction, which is, I have to say, God bless you, because at the end of the day, I mean, everybody that ever looked at you and said things are not going to happen, you just proved them wrong, which I love that, because it's amazing how powerful that is. When someone tells you can't do it, and you just, like, your subconscious like literally resists that. No, I am going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to do whatever it takes.
And it wasn't about proving them wrong. It's just that that's not the right words for me.
Well, no, but it is,
yeah.
You really proved them wrong without even doing it.
Without even trying to prove them wrong. It wasn't that wasn't like deliberate. I'm going to prove you wrong. I just like, that ain't working. I got to find somebody else that talks my story.
But remember,
but next.
Yeah, but for people listening, for example, right? When someone says you can't do this, or you're not going to live long, or you're not going to be healthy, or you're done, who are you to judge? I mean, yeah, there's some facts,
exactly,
but there's always exceptions. And the body and the mind, and the spirit, when all this stuff gets together, there's a whole different angle that we might not even realize. Some people elevate and be able to cure themselves in different ways. I've had so many guests on shows right now that have had very near death experiences and all crazy types of modes where people are like, this is it. Yet decades later, they're still here, they're still out there, they're vibrant, they're energized, and they actually are models to others. And
yes,
you are, and again, talking about the 70s, I mean, that is a long run. God bless you. And actually, we would love to be there. We all, like, when you're young, you don't think about age, and there's a point where you start thinking about it, and you're like, oh, I appreciate people that are at an older age, because you know what? They've lived a nice life and a longer life. What will have, and a lot of the young people don't even realize, they just like live the day to day, but they don't realize how long and how valuable that life is and what you can achieve in it, right? But if you add the concept of beating on yourself all along and you don't get out of it, that's a problem.
That's how you get old.
Well,
no, it's true. No, it's true. The more shame, guilt, energy you get rid of, the younger you become. Okay. We have love energy coming to us. Everybody knows what love is. And love has what? 30 or 40 emotions: happiness, self-esteem, compassion, intuition. Give me some more. I mean, like, we all know what love makes us feel. We're
Every
giving,
good
we're
feeling,
forgiving,
every good feeling out there.
passionate, we're loving, we give, and we know we can fly, and we can dig a ditch, and
And
we can do
inspire,
everything.
motivate, all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what love does. And love carries all those emotions. Okay, that's what love creates.
Mhm.
Now, on the other side, we have shame, guilt, negative energy, and it creates all the negative things.
Bad stuff.
That's it. That's it. Now, what happens to your computer when it gets a virus or negative energy?
Doesn't
Don't
function.
even talk about it, right?
Mhm.
Microsoft Word doesn't work, or it does work with the, I don't know, files. And I mean,
Corrupt
you know,
files, slow,
yeah.
slow system, just
And you're like, oh
pop-ups.
my God, right. Yeah. You just want to throw it away. How do you get rid of it? You use a virus removal program.
Yeah.
Right?
Spyware,
You
malware. Yeah.
you can't heal it. Like, oh, voo, 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 voo. You got to get rid of it. Okay. And I'm sure you know that, being in the health field and being accomplished like you are, know that we are like a computer. We have ley lines, we have energy lines, we're energy. We are energy. Okay, we're physical, but we have energy.
We can debate the physical part in physics, but even
But
the physicians of the physics will actually debate that. But go for
yeah,
it.
but we are an energy
Yes.
being.
Agreed.
There's energy medicine, and
Yes.
anyway,
Totally agree.
shame, guilt, energy comes into us, and it turns our positive emotions to negative ones. We are already compassionate and loving and joyful. We get hit with a shame, guilt experience from someone else, and it turns that emotion to negative. Compassion goes to depression. Passion turns to anger. Intuition turns to anxiety, and so forth and so on.
Those are powerful.
See, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do 10 years of work to get compassionate. You are, as human definition, is a human species of love and compassion and joy and all the rest of the kick-ass things you can do. Excuse me, but it just came in.
It's okay. Yes, it's all right.
We are that way, but we have a negative virus that comes into us from other people that we've learned to do ourselves, and we mess it all up. I mean, that's not very definition, but exactly that's what it does. Like your computer, your brain gets confused. Confusion is named shame, guilt, energy because it distorts it. It can't think properly. Your emotions get turned to negative, and then physically, it interrupts your, biorhythms and all the other stuff. That's another story. But then it stops the connection you have with God. I worked in Sedona with many channelers, people that's spirits and psychics and all. And they always want to get better clarity. Of course, if you're talking to God, you want to have a much clearer channel. And I said, forget the meditation thing, because, you can keep doing that, but you're not going to get a big result. Let's get rid of the shame, guilt energy you have. They do. And I did a couple sessions. It went off the roof. Their channeling was clear as a clear bell because there was no static on the line. Shame, guilt energy is a static on the line.
It's interference, just like if you
exactly.
Exactly.
It's simple. Now, shame, guilt energy only has one defect,
which is
it dissolves in detection. Whoa.
I like that. That's good. All right, let's go deep in that one.
Now you know why they kept it a secret.
All right. So how does that work?
That works because that's how we get rid of shame, guilt energy. We have to find it to get rid of it. And they're inside our personality parts, like anger, or, the little kid inside of us. I'm sure you've heard of the personality parts. It's getting pretty popular, but that's where it's held. And there is a shame, guilt producer inside of all of us. And it's called the inner critic. We all know about the inner critic, right?
Yeah, it's that guy inside, that gal inside that's always talking to you, like questioning things. Why? Why not? Why? You should. You shouldn't. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
the little voices.
yeah, the inner critic is the CEO of our personality. So we got to go to him to change things. But, you know, he's not willing to change things. But anyway, we have to make friends. We can negotiate with him. We don't get rid of him. We can't kick him out. He's part of our being. And the more you try to kick him out, the harder and stronger he gets. Okay, your inner critic, my inner critic, was living in 1955.
Oh.
I have to say, hi, can you come to timeline 2021 now? Because I'm not a little kid and I can take care of myself. I've learned a lot about shame and guilt and how to protect myself. That's all it is. You have to invite them into your present moment. And it works. Okay, they're stubborn at first because they're really here to protect you, but they're thinking of you as a 5-year-old. And their only job is to make you lesser than, because if you don't try anything, you won't get injured. And you have to say, I'm a grown-up now. I've been to courses. I've been to your course, and I've learned how to protect myself. And I learned what shame guilt is, and I don't accept it from people. I'm learning a lot, learning something from Lois. So, you know, we have to negotiate your presence within me. And then, I mean, you can't say kick him out and all that. So eventually, after you get to know him or her, if you have a her, it's very hard. So anyway, no, I'm serious. A person has a shame guilt producer that's a woman, it's a little more harder. But anyway,
it's a tough case.
It's a tougher case. You can't. But anyway, it all can be fixed. And I had one client that had 2 inner critics. Oh. But we made it. We made it. Anyway, so I have a process that works. Okay, so we have to make friends with the inner critic. And I said, would you like to have more power? Oh my goodness. The inner critic is so happy. All he wants is power, right?
Control. Yeah.
Power.
Power can be.
He just wants power.
Very big, very large in capacity.
Yeah. So if he would stop using shame, guilt, interest in all, like little kids and me and everybody, he could get a job promotion. So my inner critic now, we made friends, we're part. So he's my partner. He helps me with my business. And he goes around the world finding podcasts for me.
Yeah, he's the one.
He doesn't shame guilt me because I can do that myself. I took on that job so he could be free enough to do other stuff. Okay, am I 100% never feeling guilty? Heck no. But heck, I'm a 90% better than I used to be.
But believe it or not, Lois, I mean, everyone has some sort of a shame and guilt level. It's just how they display it, how they treat it,
and how much you have. Exactly. So the more you can get rid of, the smarter you get, you get smarter because your brain has more energy. Brain isn't occupied with shame, guilt, energy. It's occupied with your human potential energy. And this is proven. Depression makes you more stupid. Anxiety makes you more stupid because it covers your brain, the energy field. So shame, guilt, energy does not belong to humanity. We do not need it. It's an outside energy force put upon humanity. Long story. But essentially, you don't need shame, guilt, energy. You need love energy. But shame, guilt, energy, and it's so tenacious because it wants your energy. So but Lois, you don't need it.
So Lois, is there anything in your experience, and since you've been doing the counseling for a minute now, I'm just being funny about it, but you know what I mean? The concept of potentially even preventing shame. I mean,
yeah.
Before it happens, I mean, you know, now ultimately we can prevent it with little kids because, today maybe it's even better in a way. However, we have another problem today. So you can potentially shelter kids and, be good parents and everything, maybe good schools with no punishments and all that stuff. But then now you have other things, I mentioned earlier the word bullying, right? Whether through social, now it's social media also. And sometimes the new generation is put in literally into feeling like they're aware of themselves, but they're also not happy with themselves because of everything that's being put into
exactly.
them.
And they have a hard time.
Yeah. Sad. I mean, it's crazy.
This is why I call myself an educator. I have an ebook and you have to sign up for it because you get it one time a week, and it's 25 questions and answers, and I have 500. Now, the 500 ways that we receive shame guilt, that's what it is. It's teaching you what is shame guilt behavior, because I didn't know. I just thought that was normal behavior, and they call it normal behavior. And I said, it's common, but it's not normal. And I'm breaking ground here, because they're like, what? It is not normal for a human to harry shame, guilt, energy. But it's been so common that we feel like that's the way our culture teaches us. So we have no enemies. We cannot blame our mother. We cannot blame our father. We cannot blame our teacher. We cannot blame the person we heard on TV. We can't blame the boys. We can't blame anybody. We only have one enemy, and it's shame, guilt, behavior. So what does Sansun say? Know thy enemy. So, because how can you resist it if you don't know what it is? So that's what I teach. And you're welcome to have the 500 questions, one answer book, and you'll get information of I give examples of people talking, and it shows you how the shame guilt words make you feel lesser than. And we have to learn what is shame guilt behavior. And when someone throws that at you, you go, isn't that interesting? You don't play the game. Wow, that's a good way of looking at it. And some people just keep on going. You go, I got to go, soup's boiling, got to talk to the phone. I got to, you don't accept it. It's very fun. It's so much fun. Okay, I'll give you an example. I am very, very sensitive because of how I am. I mean, somebody will say something to me and I will just cry. And, now I say, oh, thank you so much for telling me I'm sensitive. I'll live longer. See, I don't accept it. Before I'd always cry when somebody would shame me.
Well, you obviously adapted and found ways to prevent that from getting to you. That's
what you're talking about, prevention. But we have to know the disease before we can prevent it.
Of course. Gotta.
And it's so much fun when you don't accept the shame, and the people go, huh?
Didn't work, huh?
Yeah, didn't work.
Well, it's interesting that some people thrive on shaming others.
Oh, of course, because that's how they control you, and they enjoy it. And that's a whole nother non-human person.
Well, narcissism and other things.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Good causes for that, yeah.
But if you know the game, you win the game. So that's what I'm saying. It's a shame guilt game. And you just didn't know the rules, and you didn't know how it's played. And that's what I do. I teach people what it is and how it presents itself and the words they use. And then if you know the game, you don't play the game. You just cut them off at the chase.
That's exactly right. And believe it or not, so I have a formula myself, and I've used it. It's been good for me, and what it is people can tell me anything they want. I don't care what you tell me. I'm the ugliest, I'm bad, whatever you want to say, you can do. It doesn't faze me for one simple reason. it's like there's this nice little barricade that I have. You can throw in all that stuff at it. It absorbs it and just throws it out there. Comes from this way, goes the other way. It's a system that I built for me, and I know it works because it cannot affect me.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me. I'm stupid. Fine, cool. Yeah, that's what you think. I know how I am, and you're not gonna prove me otherwise. So
yeah, I just say, yeah, you're right. You have your way.
That's exactly how I developed it, and that's my way of dealing with shame, guilt factors, and a lot. And as I've been growing up since I was a kid, that's always been my thing. People say, oh, can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Okay, well, you know what? Watch me. Thank you for giving me all the motivation to do better.
Exactly. That's a good one. That's a good one.
No, but that's exactly how I've been doing it, and I will always do that until my last breath. And that's exactly. So people say you can't do things. Sure. Well, you can do it maybe, but if you tell me if someone else can do it, I probably can. So I'm just going to have to learn how to do it. And because you just challenged it, now you're giving me a motivation. Let me go get it. Let me see how I can make it work. And that's just the way it is. So I would absorb it. And a lot of people have different ways of dealing with it. Exactly. But not everybody knows that they even subjected to it. That's the problem.
That's why I have the 500 questions, one answer, because you have to learn what it is, because it's really common. It's not normal for humanity to carry shame, guilt, energy. Now, 25 years ago, excuse me, in 25 years, we can be talking and there'll be, yeah, that's right. You just don't take, we're breaking new ground here. But in 25 years, it's going to be like, yeah, we don't take that stuff. You ever hear people say, I'm not taking that from you. They're really saying, I'm not taking the shame, guilt. Never say my shame.
Well,
because you own it.
You accept it.
You don't own it.
Yeah, that's right.
They say, oh, my shame. And I go, no. It's you never own it because it's not to be owned. It's to be get away from me. Get away from me.
You got to be able to. It's funny. You're on radio. This frequency is not really, feeling you. Just turn it to go to the next one. Keep
exactly.
Moving. So you don't.
You're very smart.
You don't.
So
yeah.
What I'm saying to you is a natural way of healing yourself. And that shows that it is because you already did it without thinking of it.
Yes.
It's natural to feel this way. It's natural to resist it. And you knew it was a dangerous energy, so you didn't accept it. We are very brilliant people.
Yes, I totally
We are brilliant. And it automatically heals we automatically heal ourselves. Now, some can do it like you do it, and some people need to be shown what it is. It all depends. It just doesn't matter. But this is a self-healing approach to life. And the shame, guilt we find within our interpersonal parts, you can actually see it and get rid of it. But we can't get rid of it like saying, I get rid of all the shame, guilt in my life. You have to find it within the personality parts. And, the beauty about that is that when you help a 6-year-old inside of yourself, when you had 6-year-old with a problem with abuse or bullying or whatever, when they turn from the negative to the positive, you get 6-year-old energy.
Vibrant.
Exactly.
You get all that energy.
Exactly. And that's why, you're vibrant. That's why I'm vibrant. That's why, because we keep on helping ourselves to release the shame, guilt that's holding us down. And then when we get the energy of a positive emotion, our physical body heals.
Well, Lois, so what do you say to believe in? One of the key elements here is you have to believe and be willing to face that inner critic, to change the narrative and really just defeat that and kind of like come out of it, right?
Yeah.
Some people may be stuck with that concept that I can do it. I think that's where the systems have to apply, because maybe me personally, I can't figure it out. But having a system that is efficient, that is guiding, that's been proven success in time, that's really where your system is, showing effectiveness. Because a lot of people may try on their own and maybe not be.
No, they just need a little help.
Exactly.
To get
but your
started.
System is proven. It works.
It
And
works.
so let's talk about that. I know you put a book together. Now is the time, I think, is the name of the book.
Yes. Now is the time is when I start getting rid of the shame guilt, I start talking to the universe, light, God, and I receive all these words. And I have to write a word and then I get another word. So it's incredible dictation. It's so beautiful. It isn't like do this, number 4, number 5. It's just the beauty light. It's called light language. And it's absolutely beautiful. I have the book, Now's the Time. It's about 30 pages. It's a pamphlet. And when you read that, you feel the love energy. So when you get stuck in feeling depressed, feeling the shame, read the book and it automatically gets rid of the shame energy and you're in love. It's beautiful.
It's powerful, beautiful and powerful.
Because you're accessing another dimension. Shame is the lowest energy that a human can have and still be alive.
That's pretty good definition.
That's pretty.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Hawkins had taken each emotion and categorized its frequency. Like enlightenment is like 700,000. And joy is like 500,000. Happiness is, down all the way down. Shame is 10. 10. So when people say, I want to be happy, well, that's 600. And if you have a 10 keep going, you're going to have a lot of minuses. And you're upset because you can't be happy because you got a 10 going all the time. And you want to get a 700. Mathematically, it don't work.
It's like you're stuck in the basement when you need to be on the top, penthouse.
Shame is the lowest emotion you can feel and still be human. How and powerful is that?
It's crazy.
So the most dangerous thing to do is to have shame guilt energy.
Well, it's like being pulled by an anchor, on the bottom of the sea, and you can't come up to the surface.
And that's a very good analogy.
You're just can't get that breath of air. I mean, you're just like constantly being pulled down, and that's no matter how you try, it's difficult. But you're right. If you got to find ways. And to be honest with you, I mean, one of the reasons we are doing these shows and on the channel on the radio is to really provide another way out to people and another way to see things. Someone hears this story today, this particular format, this particular, concept, and they can just absorb that and change their life for better. That's a success right there. So the more we touch people, through these concepts and share with them, the more, a lot of out there would be better off. And they would not be in that grade level of, like, as you said, a 10 when they can be at a 500 or 600, 1,000. So you're right. I mean, it's amazing that, there's so much stuff available. And unfortunately, not everybody has access to it. Even with all the technology we have today, with all the media, with all the resources, sometimes we focus on the wrong, energies versus the good energies, or the better energies rather. But it is what it is. But there's you, there's me, there's plenty of folks just like us trying to do this. Obviously, there's probably similar amount of people that probably doing the opposite. Those are the ones that put shame on people, or the negative people that always put you down. No matter what you do, they try to bring your morale, in the lowest level. But you know what? They wouldn't win, because positive will always be negative no matter what.
God always wins.
I totally agree.
I have one takeaway that I'd like to share with people that they can take home now, because everybody feels shame, guilt, and that's just it. And when that happens, with this new information that you received today, if you only believe it 50%, give it a try. Just say, okay, Lois said that doesn't belong to us, it doesn't belong to me. It's outside of me. It serves no purpose to me. It has no good qualities, like there's no healthy poison. I push it to the side, but I still feel so depressed. Take a piece of paper and pencil and say, hi, depression. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me. And then keep talking to depression. Depression will talk to you. This is how you talk to each other. And it doesn't take like, oh, I got it. It's so much fun. You wouldn't believe how much fun it is. Everybody says, this is the most funnest thing I've ever done, talking to my depression. Hi, anxiety. How are you? What are you talking about? Oh,
Well,
I'm 6 years old. It's so much fun. It's like a movie.
it's like, well, we do have the expression facing the demons. So this is it. I mean, those are your anchors. Those are all the little guys that are pulling you. And now you just stand in front of them like, wake up. Hey, listen, let's go.
Hi, how are you?
Let's have a discussion, or maybe a fight, but a discussion is usually better.
we're negotiating, and they're trying. Okay, when you feel depression, that means your depression is trying to get you attention. And one of my depression said to me when the first I came stuttered, "Are you the one to love me? Are you the one to love me?" So that's self-love. When I love depression, the depression loves me. We finally know how to self-love. You got to have somebody to love.
And you
That's
make it
it.
work that way. That's right.
That's all there is. There ain't no more.
And it's funny because you just made it so simple right now. It's not even funny. that was as simple as it gets. I mean, you could do it.
It is. That's all there is. And if you see my DVD, Out of Discord into Harmony, I have 30 minutes of how I talk to my emotions. I have kids being emotions. And I have a very arrogant teenager who's extremely narcissistic, and how we all learn to grow together. And now we support each other because we negotiated a deal.
I mean,
And that's called peace. That's called peace.
And it is powerful because the way you're breaking it down, I mean, you give in all these descriptives, but really at the end of the day, it's
you and you.
Exactly.
You and you.
Well, I call it the me, myself, and I relationship. I mean,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
There's that discussion all the time happening. And it's just a matter of being able to have control in that conversation and have a real clarity as opposed to having one character taking over.
Well, you have to say, and you're not in charge, and they're not in charge. You can't say, I want you to do this and that. No, if I want to become your friend, I go, hi, how are you? What kind of ice cream do you like? I don't say, I'm more important than you. No, we got to say, hi, how are you? And you say, I like chocolate ice cream. What do I like? Strawberry. What is your one wish that you would have? I want to be running around and play. And I said, I want to be happy. Okay. I said, that's what, I mean, it's just talking to yourself, and not in scientific, psychological drama. It's just you and me talking. Mm-hmm. It's me talking to myself like, hi. And they are different than you. Some like cherry ice cream. I like vanilla. I mean, it's great. It's so much fun. It is like the funnest thing. You watch my DVD, Out of Discord into Harmony.
Well, I will have the description to all these into this in the links to on the description of the show. So we'll have access to it, and hopefully everybody watching. You mentioned something, very interesting earlier, like, what do you get to lose? You watch it, listen, try it, and take it as a spin ride. Just take it for a spin, find out, test it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to apply it, right?
You didn't pay for it.
Exactly. That's right. So well, listen, it doesn't hurt. One of the best things that we can do is test things. It's like you go to a buffet, you sample something, you don't like it, you don't eat it. You go to the next one, right? Same concept. We have so many things we can use as means to better ourselves. And, we pick and choose whatever we want, but we test them. And it's like,
what do you got to lose?
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, find out the next one.
And
there's more.
Children love the video. Children just eat it all up.
And that's where it starts. I mean, kids are the first ones to get impacted, because by the time they realize things, it's maybe too late. So
a lot of kids watch that and have a healing. Their parents have told me, because they learn how to talk to their teddy bear friend or whatever, and they're just like, it just happens for them because they're so open. I'm so grateful for it.
Well, thank you for doing that, because I mean, again, helping, you've helped yourself, but now you've helped other people. And that's really a beautiful thing, when it's not always about us. It's about maybe taking our experiences and sharing with others. So they, either we can help them prevent falling into something that we've gone through, or at least have them, deal with what they're going through in a better way, and, maybe getting a better outcome. So that's always a beautiful thing and a positive thing. So one more thing, we're coming to the end of the show here, but you're working on a film series or some short films or something?
Yes, it's called I'm Good. And I'm making shame guilt visible so you can see how it transfers through language to you and how it disrupts the body. So it really does exist, and it's transferred through words. And it's really exciting that I found somebody that could do all this in a dimensional form. I'm very excited about it, to bring shame guilt visible.
So is this like animation? Is it like, with you in it?
No, I'm the moderator or talking person, and my producers that do all this wonderful stuff. I am just so happy they are on this planet. They do all that dimensional shifting of things, and how it plays into your body, and it's like an energy of smoke or something, and it's so cool. It's so cool.
Where is that already available, or is it still?
Not yet. Probably about another 6 weeks, and I'm sending it to all the people that I've done podcasts with, and they can share it with their audience.
I'll be all over that thing.
I mean,
I'll be posting it all over.
I haven't seen it all, but I'm like, I just, anyway, I got to make shame guilt visible.
Well, listen, the work is being done, and it's done for the right reason. And, again, we say it all the time. A few people see it today and they benefit from it. They share with others, and they share with others. And before you know it, in a few decades, 20 years, 25 years from now, a lot of people would have benefited. And because someone started, all the greatest works today that we enjoy have been the fruits of someone who did start years back, centuries back, or millennia back. But somebody took the leap and started something, and now we kind of enjoy it. the outcome of what they did back in the day. So this is you again today. Later on it will be a legacy for other people to enjoy and take advantage of.
We can heal. And it seems that the more people that do this type of healing, self-healing, the quicker people get healed. Like I had people I worked with for a couple of years. Now I'm working with people and they get it in a couple of months. It's very interesting. The 100 monkey theory, it's getting in the etherical, and it's happening quicker and quicker and quicker. It's so exciting. It's like, wow, you did all that in a month. It took me a year. It's very exciting.
Well, when people apply, right? I mean, first people are skeptical or hesitant, but when they see it and they see that it's working, they just get immersed into it. They invest more time and more energy, and ultimately they get faster the results. You want to learn something, you do it more and more and faster and sooner, as opposed to just do it once in a year. You're not going to learn it then over that, or not as good. You're not going to be good at something if you do it every now and then, because if you do it every day, repetition, right? Practice makes perfect. Muscle memory, all those things apply. But if you just do something and forget about it, and you come back. Yes, we have the expressions like a bike.
That's very true.
This doesn't really work exactly that way. You want to be good at the bike. You want to be on the bike every day, not every 6 months. You might trip actually still. Yeah. But, so listen, Lois, it's been real. It's been great. I mean, it's a new concept and certainly a concept that we all are aware of. But unfortunately, we're aware of it in a way that we're not addressing it because we kind of just
don't know.
We deflect it. It's just, it's part of us, but we don't address it enough. And to your point, maybe we don't know that we're impacted by it. That's the problem.
Exactly. Brilliant. We don't know because who told us?
Oh, no, I mean, it's amazing. and it's funny because if someone's listening and watching right now and they'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I never thought about it that way because I just didn't, I'm not sitting here thinking like, well, do I feel shame, guilt, whatever? How do I deal with this? We just live the life and deal with whatever personality.
We never question it because we never thought we could. So I'm making shame, guilt, entity or bring it out and saying, oh, that's what it is. It's that square cube thing. I
You
can
give,
see it. It exists.
you give it
It's
a
not
character.
something that, yeah, that's what that movie's going to do, concretize it. And that's what you're doing in your podcast now. You're concrete on this is what it is. It exists. So if I know that it's controllable, I can get rid of it. It isn't, I don't know how to, you know.
Listen, I'm telling you, this has been an eye opener, and definitely anyone, please, I mean, check out Lois's work, the book, the DVD, and look forward to the actual film series that will actually almost give an avatar concept to shame, guilt, you know, and you know, like personalize it in a way that we can realize what it is and maybe have tools to address it. And of course, anything else that you're using out there to help yourselves and help others, you know, in addition, I mean, again, there's so many, like, it's like holistic approach, spiritual approach, you know, sports, fitness, wellness, good eats, you know, all this mental health, all these concepts, they can all be added value and create your, you know, basically your immune system against all the elements out there. You know, I'm not talking about physical immune, but it's really spiritual immunity here and like, you know, subconscious immunity as well. So it can help anyone listening, watching, you know, these shows to really at least wonder, you know, about things and kind of start asking the questions and challenging some things. And there's a good chance that you'll find yourselves in a better light, in a better place, in a better, you know, positive world. And if you are positive, I think what happens when we are positive, we create positivity around us, which is contagious to others. And that's really a good thing to have. On the contrary, if we do the negative and stay negative, we're probably gonna, you know, just, you know, project the same negativity, and people are not gonna be, either we're gonna affect them the wrong way, or we're just not gonna be willing to stay around us.
You want to stay on 10 or 700. It's whatever.
I'll take 700 any given day. And I'll take anyone. It's like this very simple thing, right? You want $10 or 700,000? I don't know. I don't think of anyone that's gonna say I'll take $10, right? When they can get 700,000, you know. So, Lois, this has been fun. Thank you for a great show, for a great time, for great insights, and definitely for a great concept that, you know, you've been working on. And you know, congrats for all the good work you do. And wish you all the best with all the films, and you know, hopefully a lot of people take advantage of those. Any last words before we end the show today?
Shame, guilt is not ours to own or to give.
Simple. With those words, you know, on behalf of the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, and myself, Hurricane Age, Lois, thank you for joining us today. Folks, thank you for watching the iHealth channel. Listen to iHealth Radio. We'll talk tomorrow. New show, new guest, new topic. And bye now. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.